Recording. All right. So, thank you, Usha, for your time and being able to give us this presentation about focus and time management. And I just want to share with people on the call about how Usha and I met. And I was a new coach. I had just decided to become a productivity coach about what, 3.5, 4 years ago. And I got the opportunity to go to Coaching Skills Camp, one of Keller Williams' specific coaching trainings, one of my personal favorites. And we had to do an activity called Future Self, and it was my first one, and they lined everyone up who had been to a coaching skills camp before. And I heard that Usha had been really one of the very first productivity coaches and the longest attendee. So I said I had to be partnered with her. And I think I almost tackled you, Usha, being able to be your partner. So to this day, I'll never forget you doing that future self with me. So I really appreciate our time and our friendship together so far.
Well, I'm very grateful, Lena. It's really exciting, constant growth. So welcome everybody. My name's Usha Patel. I've been with Keller Williams. It'll be 12 years. I started my real estate career in 1998. Was with Remax previously. Was introduced to Keller, a coaching event that I was at. Signed up coaching. Actually, I'd signed up for coaching when I started my career, but I had heard about Keller Williams, and I really wanted to be a part of Keller Williams. So there was no Keller Williams in our area, and I had a vision that that's where I wanted to be. So we ended up going ahead and really partnering with some folks, and so opened a Keller Williams office in our area, and we're part of 9 Keller Williams offices. I launched the coaching programs in our market centers in 2007, and I have a productivity coach in each office, and I oversee them. And really, my passion is really helping agents grow their businesses so that they can have awesome lives. So that's my one thing, and I love what I do. So today, to see what I would be able to share with everyone. And when she asked about time management, I really thought that was so coincidental because it's been one of my passions. When I started with Keller Williams, I hired a coach, and one of the things that she really got me to really embrace was the focusing tool. So today, we're talking about leaping with focus. So leaping with focus it's really about focus and time management. I'm going to share with you a tool which we call the 411, and how can you really go from managing your time by default versus managing your time on purpose. So we'll look at what are you doing and where your focus is. So we'll look at the focus on the 20% and how to operate with purpose and how we're going to set effective goals, establish accountability, and how do you create this tool, which we call the 411. It really is an action goal sheet to help you define and manage your activities. And then that's going to help you really look at your schedule and the actual time blocking that you're going to do. So, hi, Rhonda. Looks like somebody just popped up on my screen.
I saw.
So Rhonda, I got to see Rhonda. So that's what we're going to do is look at the 411 and the productivity tool. And some of you on the call today are aware of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, which is our economic model is part of that, and I'm going to cover that today. And how do you take your business to the next level so that you can have more productivity and profitability? Lena and I had talked about, we're going to have about 10-15 minutes at the end so you can ask questions. So I'm going to go through this, and there's going to be some tools here that Lena can share with you, and I certainly can forward some of the ones that I had. Some we created, so we're very happy to share those with you. Productivity Warriors, that was actually a website that was created by Groe-Keller, the founder of Keller Williams, and I love that because it really embraces the three things, and that's going to be focus, accountability, and rituals. And let's really look at the three individually, okay? How do we really, as he says, choose your own destiny, right? So when it comes to focus, we really, unless you have clarity, you really can't. Clarity really gives you power to really do the things you need to do. So that's going to be the focus. What are you focusing on for your business? We're looking at the goals, and that's the plan on what is it, what's your plan, what's your goal, how are you going to do it, what are the categories. We're going to look at the calendar. Obviously, I'm sure everyone on the call is using either Google or Outlook or online calendar. At the end of the day, the calendar is going to be something that is what you're going to use. Groe-Keller always says, show me a calendar and I'll show you how much income you make. So what's on your calendar? And then the daily to-do. I actually now like to call it the daily success list. So we'll look at that as well. Then when we look at accountability, who actually does the accountability? Who does the accountability, right? Everybody, even if we're all saying, well, I can be accountable, we all need accountability and someone to mastermind. So thus this webinar too, I think it's a great format to have the masterminds. There's consulting, there's peer-to-peer, and there's a coach. And obviously a lot of you know Lena. A coach is going to be someone that would really, really help you have some really good accountability. We're going to look at what form of measurement, what are you going to be accountable to? So you got to decide how you know when your goal is accomplished. How are you going to do it? So what are the key things for accountability, and when is it going to be done, accountability? Do you have actually a schedule? Is it weekly? Is it 15 minutes a day? You have to decide how often.
We lost you, Usha.
You're going to, can you hear me?
We lost you for about 3 seconds.
Okay. Do you want me to do the accountability piece?
We pretty much got to like who does it, what form. You went through the list and then you started explaining.
Yeah, so when is it done? Accountability, unless it's done in a systematic way, what it would happen is that you'll start, and then if you just don't have the commitments, it would be, especially if you've got peer-to-peer or something like that, you have to decide how often you're going to do it. And again, schedule accountability. And obviously a coach is going to really be good for helping with that, because the coach would really help you accountable to that. And the consequences, when and what are the consequences? And you have to be willing to accept a real consequence for, a goal that you didn't achieve. I remember last year, Lena, at our mastermind, we had one of the coaches in, the team came up with, the group came up with the accountability. If X wasn't done, then the person would eat dog food.
Yeah, and the coach ended up having to eat it because the coach didn't do it.
That's right. It was the coach, and he did, right? He ended up. So, the great thing is that we really what we ever talk about and ask our agents, and we do the same. I mean, we're really doing our work alongside, and we really do have very high accountability. For me, this accountability was such a big aspect of my growth, because my coach years ago in 2004, 2005, she said she would not coach me unless I sent my accountability sheet in. So here I am, committed to growing and yet not doing what I needed to do. From that day, I really pushed myself to get it done. She's like, just do something with it. So I really embraced it, and today I'm very grateful that she actually, really was tough with me. So I hope you get to find someone who's not going to let you off the hook. I think that's a very important piece of that. How are you protecting your time? There's the 3-foot rule. Rituals, there are habits. What are the habits that you have on a daily basis? Are you allowing people to steal your time, or are you going to be really purposeful about protecting your time? And that's going to be really looking at what's on your schedule and being really true to what you say you're going to do during that time, especially if it's going to be the lead generation, which is so important. How are you protecting that time? If people come within your 3 feet area, and it's going to be they really just want to waste your time, are you going to allow that? Is that a habit that you've created? The 80-20 rule, I'm sure a lot of you have heard about the 80-20 rule. How do you make sure that the 20% of what matters the most in real estate gets done the first? And obviously, for a lot of us in real estate, it's lead generation, because without that, we don't have a business. Are we really staying true to that time block and doing it? And we have, if you do erase, you're going to replace, right? So be there rule, one thing at a time. Always work at being appropriate in the moment. Many times I think we think that we're all good multitaskers. And if any of you have read The One Thing and heard anything about the One Thing book, I highly recommend it. That was my big aha, is multitasking is really a lie. In today's world of technology and everything, I'm sure a lot of us want to do, some of you might be driving, listening to this, but even if you are actually on, I'm sure it's the temptation to actually do other things is there, and yet when we pay attention, we really get a lot. The play, prep, play rule. Are we just working, or are we taking time to take care of ourselves as well? I think, again, really, when we balance things out, we're going to really show up really well with our clients. And then lastly is the unique ability and leverage rule. What are we doing to competence, our personal satisfaction, and even our income potential that you must focus on to work, which is your core competency? I'm hoping that you're all aware of your behavior styles. Some of us are really good at getting out there and lead generating, and yet not really good at paperwork. And when we do try and push the envelope of trying to do it all, it really stops us. It stops our growth. So it sounds like a lot of you that are on the call are on a growth path. That's going to be an important part of your productivity as you go forward. So focus, what is the focus? We have a tool called the 411. I'm sure some of you on the call use it or have heard of it. I know I teach it at many of our market centers, offices, and yet, there might be agents not really truly aware or using this. Quite frankly, this is one of my favorite. I use it every week. Even today, I have a coach. I send her my 411 every week. So I'm going to go through how you use this tool. This is a blank 411, so It's going to come in the next couple of slides. This is another planning tool, which is the success list. And then we have, now this we created, actually my husband's my partner in business, and he oversees the 9 offices. He's the VP of operations. He has a lot of creativity and puts a lot of systems in place. This is a planning tool, and you know, it is January. We're almost at the end of January. It's a great time for you to look at what your year is going to look like. I was coaching an agent today, and she's just like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know when I'm going to get everything done. And really, quite frankly, you're never going to get everything done. What you learn even today, if you put on your sheet about when you're going to implement, you learn a lot of things, and yet when you start implement, you learn and you implement. When are you going to implement it? This would be a really good thing. For example, if your business is at 3 million and you want to take it to 6 million, and you're going to need to add leverage, what are the systems that you're going to need to put additionally? You might want to say, okay, by April, May, I'm going to need to do, start doing the recruit select process. So while you're thinking about it right now, you have it off your brain and onto a piece of paper, and that's going to be your planning tool. So let's look at the 411, and when we look at the 411, there's a couple of different templates of these. I have a different one that also includes the finances. This one I wanted to show specifically only because it really covers what's most important. I always say that your personal goals are really important to revisit first and foremost, because we do our work and our jobs and our careers because of our personal goals. And when you see that side by side if you can imagine this is your business plan on one sheet of paper, then you would have it with you all the time. Now you can really, really stay very focused versus, I don't think I really know what my goal was for X, Y, and Z. So your personal goals are going to be really important, and those are going to be some of the things like your vacations. It's going to be perhaps part of your growth plan. It's going to be your health goals. It's going to be your spiritual goals, your contribution goals. That's where you would actually put some of that. And then you're going to look at your annual business goals. And then what I'm going to do is actually look at that, go through some of that with you with the time that we have, okay? So the annual business goals are going to then translate to, that's going to be your GCI and your gross sales volume. What are you going to do in terms of education? How are you going to grow your business? Some of the system stuff, if you do have that as part of your annual goals. That would then be on your monthly goals, which obviously would, majority of it is going to be divided by 12. So for example, for the month of January, you're going to take your annual goals and then look and see what you need to do monthly. And then it's going to be your weekly goals. So the best practice is to look at, for example, what the weekly goals would be, and yet every week you actually create your weekly goals. You look at it. For myself, what I do is I have a time block on the weekend to do my planning and my 411 and my prep sheet, and then I look at the week ahead and I look at what I have, what I need to do, what did I accomplish, what do I need to add, or am I ahead of the goal? Do I have vacation coming up that I need to double up? So this way you can adjust all your goals to make sure that you can meet your monthly goals. And of course, I send it to my coach. Okay, so the completed annual goals could be something like this. So here's a sample. I actually have a sample 411 created for Joe Be Focused. So his goal was to build and maintain a financially sound, profitable fourth-level business. What's that going to mean, and what's that going to take? And so there's a whole breakdown of that. So you can look at what your goals are and put that on your 411. So your monthly goals would be, for example, in this case, generate 16 listings. Again, it's going to be a countdown of what your divided by 12 are your monthly goals. And then the weekly goals. So then you would end up with, a full sheet of 411 every month. You're just working through it, okay? It's a Word document, and it's ongoing. So I'm going to move on to the part of the business plan, and that is the economic model of the millionaire real estate agent. That begins with the basics of what your cash flow is going to look like. You're in a mastermind group. I would think that you know a lot of these things. What does make up the economic model? How do you get your net income? That's going to be your gross commission income minus your cost of sales, minus your operating expenses, and that's going to be your net income. And I actually have it broken down as well. Lena does have a copy of this, so she can share this with you.
Yep.
Right?
Yes. Yep.
That's awesome. So she's going to make sure that she gets that to you. So your gross commission income, your cost of sales, and your operating expenses, and your net income. Okay, so let me just look at, that's actually a repetition of it. So what is going to be an agent who's an exclusive listing agent? What is that sequence? Where is it going to start? It's going to start with your lead generation activities and all the leads that you generate. It's going to be your listing appointment set. What the activities you did, for example, if it was if you were at a networking event or if you were calling expireds, how many leads did you generate, and then how many appointments did you set? And then of the set appointments, how many listing consultations did you actually go on? And of that, how many listing contracts did you sign? And then how many of the listings that actually went under contract and how many closed? And that's going to be what creates your GCI. And your conversion ratios, hopefully all of you are doing your business plan, and more importantly, tracking your numbers of some of these activities, because that's going to give you your conversion ratios, especially this October when you create your 2017 business plan, correct? This is just an example of a conversion ratio. So for example, lead generation activities with, now this is a have not met group, which is actually not the best example, because I would really recommend focusing a lot on your have met group. So this is probably just to scare you a lot. So 10,000 mail, the conversion ratio being 1%, leads generated would be 100. Your conversion ratio being 50%, that would give you 50 appointments. With a conversion ratio of 80 would give you 40 presentations, consultations. Of those, you would sign 30 listing contracts. Of those, 15 would go under contract. You would close 12. So additional assumptions would be if an agent in our previous had 12 listings that closed, what would the net income be, right? What additional information do you need? Well, you're going to need to know your average sale price. I have market centers that have average sale prices of $350, and then we have like our Pocono office, which is like $150. So I'm not actually sure what your price ranges are over there, so I'm sure we can talk about that.
Yeah, we're about $250.
And then we look. What's that? What is your sale price?
We're about $250.
Well, the office I'm in today, that's about the same, $250.
Perfect.
So that's going to be very important to know about your part of your business plan. And then how many units you're going to sell, and that's going to give you your gross sales volume. And the gross sales volume, multiply that by your commission rate, is going to be your GCI. And then, of course, you're going to need to look at what your operating expenses are and your cost of sale. The operating expenses are going to be a lot of the things where you spend your money with lead generation activities and things like that. And your cost of sale is going to be what you give to your broker. So for some of you with Keller Williams, it's going to be what your cap is, and for some of you who are on the call, it's going to be what your split is with your brokerage. So it is complicated stuff. That's why you need to go and do a business plan and make sure that you all have a business plan. And if you don't, make sure you get with Lena, because she'll definitely help you with that. So the GCI minus cost of sales minus operating expenses is your net income. Complicated stuff. What do? We put it on our 411. So that's getting you from a blank 411 to the business plan. What I did is I actually just did a little snapshot here of our economic model. It's the economic model, the lead generation model, and your budget model, and that's going to give you your business plan, putting all the models together. And when we actually do the business plan, we'll see the breakdown of exactly how many leads you need, how many appointments you need to have, your conversion ratios, and that's really going to lead you to your gross commission income, your cost of sales, your operating expenses, and your net income, all on one sheet. And then this is what your 411 is going to look like. Ta-da! So my question is, do you have a 411? And if not, would this tool be something that you would benefit from? And what's on your 411 is then going to be what you use to time block on your Google Calendar and on your Outlook, whichever one you're going to use. So Q&A, I went through that pretty fast, but this way you guys have time for questions. What questions do everybody have?
Yeah, so what we're going to do, instead of unmuting everybody, let's go ahead and type questions into the chat box. I always know there's dogs and coffee and chatter in the background, so I don't unmute people. But if you can go ahead and ask Usha any question you want, even if it's not specifically about the 411, she's very knowledgeable, so it's the time to ask those questions. Do you prefer Outlook?
Nikki, I actually do use Outlook. Originally, I had started with Outlook. I know we actually have Google as well. I do have folks that use Google. What's great about Outlook and Google is the color coding that you can do. So my calendar, I have a lot of activities early in the morning. I wake up very early at 4 o'clock. And so I have my morning rituals. So they all have a different color because they're my personal. And then my travel time, travel is time. So you do need to time block that as well. So you can pick different colors and then use all of that to time block. And I find that Google and Outlook are great. But personally, I use Outlook currently. Hopefully that answered your question.
What else we got? We need a couple more questions. Usha, do you update your 411 weekly then?
I'm sorry?
Do you update the 411 weekly then?
I do. I have a time block on Saturday morning, early in the morning. And what I do is I do my planning. I look at my week, how it was, and I have a sheet. What did I do well? What did I learn? What ahas did I get? And this is my sheet for my coach. And I filled that out, and I also fill out my 411, which really helps me to look at what my week ahead is going to look like. It also lets, I'll do a month glance as well. But I really do have a time block that allows me to see what's ahead of me. And then I'll do the 411 for the week, and then that I'll translate and look at my schedule. And then I'll put everything on. So this way now I have real good clarity on every single day on what's going to be happening.
Awesome. Nikki
Yep.
has another question. Do you find better days for calls or lead generation?
Great question. I know that Mondays are great because there's, for us here, our open house is popular over where you are.
Yes.
Yes. So there's a lot of, we've done open house programs and things like that. Monday is a great day for lead generation in that there's a lot of opportunity. If you're out and about on weekends, parties or events, doing open houses, if you're out at, especially as spring starts, you're out at home shows or things like that. Monday's a really good big day for lead generation. I'm going to say every day is a great day for lead generation because if you do have a habit of a consistent habit, it's a lot easier. I do power days on Mondays. I've been doing them in our offices from quite a few years. In 2008, when the market was really difficult, the power days were something we introduced, especially with our coaching groups. And I found Mondays were really good because we really did get a lot of people. Plus, people are a lot fresher. They had the weekend. It's a really good day. Saturday morning is a really good time to lead generate as well. The mid-evenings are good. People coming home from work, that's a good time as well.
Perfect.
Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah. Anything else, guys? You covered it all, Usha.
One was from the Northeast, so I talk fast. Although I'm not from the Northeast, I'm from England.
Yeah.
And yet I seem to pick. I said if I move down south, I'd definitely have a southern accent.
Well, Usha, I appreciate your time completely. I know that you're a busy woman. And I get the excitement of seeing you in 2 weeks, right?
I'm excited absolutely. It's going to be a fabulous family reunion. And let me know if you need me to send anything. If any of the participants want any of the tools, I'm happy to send them.
I really appreciate you so much, Usha. Thank you.
My pleasure. Have a great one. I'm going to go and tackle the snow.
Okay. Be safe.
Thanks. See you all soon. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.